Hello, everyone. How are we? Hopefully, all of you is having a good. What day are we on? Wednesday, wherever we are around the world. I have to think then what day we are actually on because it is New Year's Eve. Hopefully, everyone does and has had a good year so far. We're right at the end of it, at least anyway. But how are we, chat? How hopefully all of you are good. And welcome to obviously the news show. We haven't done one of these in a while. Apologies for that. I do apologize for that, but it is the last one of the year. It's the last show of the year, really. But again, want to talk. Obviously, transfers is going to be coming up thick and fast over the next couple of weeks because again, the January transfer window is here upon us. But again, I want to know your guys' thoughts. Of course, we're going to talk about Federico Chiesa, and as my voice breaks, Federico Chiesa, and of course, Juventus looking like they are going to be back in for Chiesa in January. We'll get into that a bit later on. We'll talk about not only him, we're going to talk about Harvey Elliott as well, because of course his future is very much up in the air at the moment, considering the fact that Villa don't want him, Liverpool don't like or don't look like we're going to end up keeping him around, and of course the news at the club is that we might keep him around just for now because again we can't really put him out on loan again, so it's going to be interesting. And we're going to discuss obviously this fella Joel Ordonez. Again, apologies if I butchered anyone's names, but he is the centre back that Liverpool are linked with this January. Of course, we all know, we can all admire Mark Gahey and how, again, all of us want Mark Gahey really, but it looks like he won't be available in January, and it looks like Liverpool may go for him if he is available. Obviously, he does play for Club Bruges. We will discuss him in a moment as well. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts, of course, down in the comments. And again, I want to know how you lot are spending New Year's as well, because, and to be fair, while you'll have a Christmas, because I don't think we've done a live show since Christmas, so hopefully everyone had a good Christmas day and obviously the rest of it anyway. But let me get back into the chat. Evening Cal saying hello, hopefully doing well. What else we got here? Obviously here's was evening all. How many signings in Jan window do you think we'll make? Not as many as I think people are thinking. I think some people are thinking around 3 or 4. Like Liverpool, I honestly, and this is me being genuine, we'd be lucky if we signed one, in January. I know Arne Slot said it today, didn't he, about how basically he does expect new faces in the door, but also new faces in terms of people returning, of course, obviously, like like the people like Wataru Endo coming back, Joe Gomez when he does come back, Mo Salah when he comes back from AFCON, and obviously later on the season, like Alexander Isak, if he does make a return this season, which I think will be a very slim chance, in my honest opinion, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I definitely think. I think one, we'll see. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it and be like, oh yeah, no, we're going to absolutely, sign ridiculous amount of players. Even though, personally, I do think we need 2 minimum. One being a centre half, the other one being a winger. Really, I don't want really want to see what. I don't want to see Cody Gakpo week in, week out left wing. I'm not going to lie, because quite clearly we're not going to trust Rio Ingamoa at the minute. Arne Slot has kind of taken a back burner to Rio at the start of the season. But yeah, I think we need to sign a left forward, really. Evening, Jen as well. Hopefully, evening and happy New Year. We need a centre back ASAP. I would agree with that 100%. I said in the match preview show that Ibu Kanate is a booking away from suspension, which is horrific when you think about it. And yeah, again, we're going to end up playing some random kid at centre off at some point this season, whether that be FA Cup weekend or whether that be anywhere else really. I'm going to celebrate with my eyes go funny. Cherry brandy cake. Coke. My mind read cake then. No, brandy Coke. Hopefully you enjoy. I will go for 2 as well. Yeah, I'm going to go for 2. I think Liverpool signed 2 players in January, at least anyway. But is Nat Phillips still around? No, Nat Phillips is at Derby. I think. Hang on. I'm going to double check that. I think he's at Derby. I haven't really checked about Nat Phillips this season. Nat Phillips. Oh, have I got to type in Nathaniel? Because his proper name is Nathaniel Phillips. Nathaniel. Why is he not coming up? Hang on, let me Google it. Nat Phillips' current team. Is he at QPR chat? Oh, he's at West Brom. He's not at Derby. He's at West Brom. Why did I think he was at Derby then? Hang on, was he at Derby? Oh, he was at Derby last season. Okay, that makes sense. He's made 23 appearances and scored 3 goals for West Brom. The most he scored in his footballing career. So fair play to Nat Phillips as well. Maybe we should make a bid for Nat Phillips. That could be a possibility for Liverpool this January transfer window anyway. But I want to obviously quick start. I want to talk about Harvey Elliott to begin with, because I do want to talk about Harvey mainly because we talk about how many players could come into the door at Liverpool, and he for sure could be one. Obviously has not hit the ground running at Villa for some reason, and look, don't get me wrong, and this isn't meant as any disrespect towards any certain players, but watching that, and I know Villa's had a really good couple of weeks, they've had, 11 games in a row for them. I look at it and I kind of go, how can't he work at Villa? Now, Unai Emery, said at the beginning of his transfer to Villa that, look, he wasn't playing because they were trying to get him, suited to this system and trying to get Harvey Elliott ready for Villa, because again, his preseason at Liverpool, he had a full preseason, but he wasn't in the main contention, was he really? Everybody knew it was going to be Vert or Szoboszlai playing in the 10. Harvey was going to be very limited on minutes yet again. I think obviously considering it being a World Cup year as well, I think plenty of people thought, oh, well, if he did amazing at Villa, maybe there might have been the possibility that he could go to the World Cup, or at least be in the conversation around it. And it hasn't worked, quite clearly. I think the last time he played football was back in September, or even late September, beginning of October, which, look, it's not good enough really, is it? And considering the fact that Liverpool had a obligation to buy as well at the end of the season, that obviously Liverpool now are also going to take a hit off of this. It's not like if it's just Villa who, again, Villa, decided to buy him. Villa decided to go along with an obligation. And it's not only them that's going to suffer from this. It's going to be Liverpool mainly. Yes, Liverpool will get money if they do end up terminating the loan move early, because, again, they can't really... they can't just give them back to us for nothing. Again, you're probably looking around what, £3 or £4 million in compensation if they was to terminate the move. But with that also being said, it's a bummer for Liverpool, because I think the plan is that he won't be featured with the team. I don't think, not so much Liverpool don't want to keep him around. I just think, again, the minutes would be limited. At the minute, Harvey Elliott would play for Liverpool because of the lack of players we have at the present moment in time. But Liverpool can't loan him out again because, again, he's already been registered with 2 football teams. He's been registered with Liverpool. He's been registered with Aston Villa. He cannot go out again due to, I think, is it FIFA rules or UEFA rules? That he cannot, I think it's FIFA rules, to be fair, that he can't go out and be loaned out again for some reason. I think it is that loan move that he can't be loaned out again. So with that being said, Liverpool would have to recruit him and then sell him on again. Now, in an ideal world, Liverpool would like to sell him around 25-30 million pounds. That's the going rate for, I think, a player of Harvey Elliott and what Harvey Elliott would produce, really, for the player he is, in my opinion. And the problem is, people are going to look at his last year, really, where he hasn't featured for Liverpool much. He didn't feature much last season when Liverpool were going for the title. Yes, he's a Premier League champion, but that when you look at the numbers and look at everything around Harvey at the minute, he's not worked out at Liverpool. He's not worked out at Villa. Why? Why hasn't he worked out? And I think I think the reason why he hasn't worked is because nobody knows his best position. We've said it, that he's a attacking 8, or you could technically class him as a 10. I think if he went to a Bundesliga or he went to a Serie A, I think Harvey would do really good, because again, the league's a lot slower. Again, Luis Diaz has spoken in an interview talking about the Bundesliga and how it's a lot slower compared to the Premier League, which I think is fair. But also, I think with Harvey, he needs a team that he's going to be week in, week out in the starting 11. And as of right now, I don't think that's possible in the Prem, because you look at every top team at the moment. You look at, Villa, obviously he hasn't worked out at, but, he doesn't start for Arsenal, doesn't start for Liverpool, doesn't start for City, Chelsea at the moment. You could go a bit further down the league. Would and Newcastle maybe take a punt at him? Possibly. There's definitely some teams that would like a Harvey Elliott in their squad, but would the team then be able to pay 20, 30 million pounds for Harvey Elliott? No. And I think that's the realization of, I think he'll stay at Liverpool for 6 months, and then Liverpool will reevaluate in the summer what they can do with Harvey, or where Harvey could go, really. But in my opinion, I'd like him to stay around. Again, I said it to you guys in the summer that I didn't personally want him to go anywhere, because I thought, again, he could be useful in terms of the numbers with the squad. And, again, Liverpool, we haven't added to the team, really. Of course, we've added quality in terms of, Wirtz and Isak, for example. But we didn't add in numbers, did we? We didn't realistically build upon the squad from last season. We kind of just added and subtracted the quality that we missed, really, from us selling so much. So keeping him around, I think, would be beneficial. But I just look at it and go, I do struggle to see where he would go. Chat, if you guys know any ideas or have any ideas where he could end up going. Because the main reason why he didn't move to Leverkusen was because he wanted to stay in the Prem, and he wanted to stay in the Premier League. He wanted a fight in the Premier League. He wanted to be, he wanted to stay in England, didn't he? But at the moment, I just don't know where he would be at the moment. In the Prem, and I'm thinking, like, again, top end Premier League. Of course, there's teams lower down the league that, of course, Harvey Elliott would feature too, and he'd start for him, absolutely. But when I'm talking about top end, I'm talking, like, again, top 10. There's not many teams out there at the minute. Possibly, you look at teams like Bournemouth as well, who could maybe go for Harvey, because again, they're going to get money for Semenyo. They're going to get money they're going to obviously bring money in for Semenyo. Of course, they're looking at Brennan Johnson, but again, they'll be looking for a fast winger in that aspect of things, because again, Ben Doak hasn't worked out at the minute there, has he? Because I think, did he snap his hamstring? Again, so that's the problem with Ben Doak. So I look at Harvey and go, he could be somewhere that Bournemouth might go for. But again, they're not going to spend £30 million in January to get him, and Liverpool can't loan him out because of the FIFA rules as well. So it's a bit of a sticky situation, I think, for Liverpool. And I think, if everyone's being honest, I think he'll stay at Liverpool for 6 months, and then we'll reevaluate in the summer and have a look elsewhere as well. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. I'm sure we could get him cheap as well. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what Nat Phillips is, isn't it? I want Harvey back, says Jen. He could be useful for us. I would agree. I would absolutely agree. What about Reece Phillips? Who's Reece Phillips? Is my head going? Reece Phillips. Who the hell's that? I doubt. Evening, Doug. I doubt Harvey comes back. To be honest, Con. We don't. We can't loan out Harvey again. I doubt he plays in Slot's team. Too, it's a shame it's gone so badly at Villa. But rules are rules, sadly. Yeah, but that's the case, though, isn't it? But again, he's not going to play at Villa. And the thing is, if they force him to play, or at least if he's having to be forced to play, then at the end of the day, they are then going to have to pay the fee for Liverpool because it's in the contract. If he starts 10 games or if he plays in 10 games, I think they have to pay 35 million for him. So what do they do then? Because Liverpool, like I think we're talking compensation. If they were to terminate the deal now, compensation's what, 4 million, I would say. If it goes on and he does feature for Villa, and then they go, oh, we don't want to pay, then Liverpool have more right than of asking for a lot more, considering, the gaps in that. But yeah, it'd be interesting. What else do we have? Stefan's also back yet. Yeah, he again. I don't think you see Stefan Bajcetic this season. Again, people within Liverpool think he'll be okay for next season. I think he's done. I think at the club. I think there was hope he could feature at some point this season. I just don't think it's possible now. Unfortunately for him, McConnell's back. I read too. Yeah, he's back from Ajax. Probably get used in the FA Cup, and then we'll see. Possibly, I do think it might be the case of. We'll wait and see what happens. If there's any Premier League moves, really. But big up Mike as well, saying anybody puts settlement ahead of logic thinking, given what Slot wants. There's no way Harvey will get any minutes. He's too similar to too many of our midfielders, and he's not far enough forward. True. Like I said, the biggest problem with him at Liverpool is nobody knows his best position. Like, he's not a 10. We don't play, a 4-3-3 where he plays as an 8. I would say keep him around because, again, you could say back up for Mo. But then you've got Federico Chiesa there, but also Chiesa gets one start in 12 months at this rate. But yeah, it's a difficult position at the minute, isn't it? But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We need more cover. Harvey would be perfect. I would not do any business with Newcastle. They are disgusting. We have to recoup some of the ESAP money somehow. But Newcastle's just one team that automatically comes to mind. But again, I don't think they would be interested, in spending 30 odd million in January, at least anyway. What else do we have? I agree. I don't know if Harvey is a starting Premier League player, at least not where he wants to be playing. Yeah, exactly. And that's not a diss on him. It's the fact that, you look at the Premier League teams at the minute, he's not going to start at the top end of the league. And that's a shame at the minute. He won't go Dortmund, Doug, either. He will not. He won't leave. He won't leave to go. To go in Europe. He had the chance to join Leverkusen. It was Harvey Elliott or it was Joel Konza, and Joel Konza was pretty much sacrificed in that deal, wasn't he? But Harvey, as far as we know, Harvey Elliott straight away refused to go to the Bundesliga or didn't want to go to the Bundesliga. But I bet he's probably regretting that decision now, more than anything. Brentford's a shout. Could be. Dokincha versus Denmark. Big up Ozan as well. Saying, yo, big up Con. Happy New Year, lad, as well. Well, Happy New Year to you. And Happy New Year, chat, as well. I don't think he can be useful. Where is he going to be useful for us? Like I said, it could be midfield in the sense of injuries and so on. But it's either he stays or he's going to be sold, and try and find a buyer within a month for Harvey at the minute, because I think it's pretty much guaranteed he does come back to Liverpool. It's not like me saying like, oh, look at the report of saying like, oh, he might come back. Like it's pretty much nailed on. He will come back in January. It's just the fact of what Liverpool do. But man combined Nat Phillips and Reece Williams. Reece Williams, that was all right. Okay, fair enough. To be fair, in 2021, they were combined for a little bit, at least anyway. To be fair, so you're all good there, Jan. Anyway, but obviously getting on to we're talking about signings and talking about centre halves. Now, if anybody has seen this fella, now he got flagged up. Was it 6 months ago? Yeah, probably 6 months ago he got flagged up, didn't he? By Liverpool's recruitment team, where we talked about centre halves. Obviously, Liverpool did want to sign Mark Gahey to begin with, but Joel Ordenez, again, apologies if I do butcher any names. Just call him Joel and he'll be fine. But of course, Joel does play for Club Brugge. He has plenty of Premier League. He has plenty of Champions League experience as well. If you guys have seen any highlights of him or any clips of him, he looks a proper centre half. Again, obviously Ecuadorian international as well. For me personally, it would be a good fit. The only problem is Liverpool do have to sell a player first before we can sign him, because we don't have any room on the non-homegrown list, I believe. So Liverpool would have to let somebody go, whether or not that's, there was rumours of Wataru Endo possibly leaving, but then again, Liverpool would have no DM then, or proper DM at the club. Of course, we've got Ryan Gravenberch, but I mean like out and out number 6, really. But when you actually check his numbers as well, now I'm looking at it now, as freaking that doesn't want to work. Of course, it doesn't want to work now. I'm going to chat. Let me quickly get that back up. But I believe, is he 23 or 24? Of course, when I'm live, FBref doesn't want to work and it completely shuts down. Of course it does. Hang on a minute, chat. It's a problem when you're live as well. It always S up whenever you want it to work. Right, there we go. I've got to type in his bloody name again. Hang on a minute, chat. Ordonez. So far this season, he's played 21 games. He's got obviously one goal in that time. But when you actually look at his statistics, it is pretty decent. Again, this centre half talks. Again, he's in the 92 percentile in terms of non-penalty goals for a centre half. But again, his passing, that's the main one. We've said all season long that the big problem for Liverpool is progressing the ball out. When we talk about build-up, when we talk about Liverpool not really doing great, let's be honest, in terms of build-up. Watching Ibrahima Konate week in, week out is frustrating. I don't know if it's just me with that, but it is very frustrating to watch Ibrahima Konate trying to build up. But also looking at, again, obviously it is the Belgian league, so obviously take that with a pinch of salt. But he does make over 70 passes per 90 with a 91.1% pass accuracy rate. Progressive passes, he's in the top 84% in terms of Europe. And he is in the top 65% for defenders with progressive carries as well. So again, I would say go and watch him on whenever you want, like obviously YouTube and so on as well. But there was reports suggesting that Chelsea were also interested in him. Shock, again, Chelsea are always involved in a player under the ages of 22, but he is he's not 24, he is 21. to be fair. But when we talk about, again, I want to compare him in the Champions League this season. I want to show you guys his scouting report for the Champions League. Hang on a minute, chat. This might work. It might not work. Hang on a minute. Where we buy? There we are. Share screen. There we go. You can tell I haven't done this in a while, chat. What else we buy? There we go. And is that going to work? Or am I frozen? There we go. There we go. There we go. That's a bit better. Right. So, as you guys can see by there, from the Champions League stats, not really great. When we talk, again, when you look at these numbers, not so great compared to the overall report. But this is the big one for me, where we talk about the passing stats, and when we talk about passing accuracy, again, we're talking about pass completion and obviously pass completion, obviously in the mid range, where we're talking about obviously Liverpool progressing the ball up. Again, he is both footed, I believe, or is he right footed? He is right footed, does play on the right hand side as well. So obviously direct competition for Ibrahima Konate, not just obviously Virgil van Dijk as well. But like I said, Chelsea also interested as well. But looks pacey from his hair. Yeah, aerodynamics, to be fair. Is he right-footed and left-footed? So he is right-footed. He's right-sided centre-half. Liverpool could get him on the cheap for, I believe it's 35 million. I think was the most they could get him for. But by the looks of it, it could be as low as 25 million as well. So, with that being said, is that such a bad price for a player? Again, he's unproven because, again, the Belgium League and so on. But again, good players have come out of the Belgium League before in the past. I do think we could definitely see the fact that Liverpool might go for him. But again, like I said, Liverpool would have to sell first to be able to buy him. But there was people reporting it because I think was it Lewis Steele mentioned him a couple of weeks ago as well in the report that he's been looked at with the likes of Lacroix from Palace, and looking at who else was it? Nathan Collins, I think, also got mentioned in the report, and obviously Mark Gahey as well. But obviously Mark Gahey is pretty much unavailable because Palace, even though Maresca's gonna leave in the summer, pretty much Maresca was like, yeah, don't want to lose him, want to keep him for another year, and so on as well. But actually I'm going to read out the report that came out of Ecuador as well. So it said that both Liverpool and Chelsea were in the race to sign Joel. I'm just going to say Joel. I'm not going to butcher any names. In the summer transfer window, but Liverpool are now leading the race. It says, Liverpool are now leading the race and could sign the defender in January. Liverpool is leading the race with also suitors from Inter, is a close contender and will battle Liverpool in a bid to get his services in January. A January exit is more likely now with a valuation of around £24 million. So, I don't know. Chat. What would you think? I would say go and watch his videos or go and watch highlights of him. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say I watch Club Brugge week in, week out. I think I've watched Club Brugge once this season, and he was okay in the game that I seen in the Champions League when they played Dortmund. But in terms of, again, watching him week in, week out, I'm not going to say I do that. And I've seen highlights of him, looked at the numbers as well. And to be fair, I think he could be a decent player for us as well. Very good on his feet, huge aerial duels as well, which is huge for Liverpool in terms of, again, Liverpool failing mainly in terms of aerial duels, but he's in the numbers. Again, I think, if I check FBref, I think he's in the top 90 percentile in terms of headers. Hang on a minute, because I'll be in defending. Where are we by? Yeah, he's in the top 95 percentile for aerial duels won. So it's pretty decent and pretty good going, to be fair, as well. But look, if Liverpool could get him cheap for that, then brilliant. Is he better? Is he better than Ragnar Klavan? Possibly. Again, I'm not going to put my neck on the line on that because we're an absolute baller. Ragnar Klavan was for Liverpool Football Club, but yeah, I think he's decent, to be fair. But centre back got to be huge and quick, which he does look, to be fair. Maresca or Glasner. Well, Maresca's probably going. Wouldn't be surprised if he's the next Man City manager. I think there's no, I don't think there's any coincidence that the fact that David Ornstein put that report out saying he could be the next Man City manager, and then the links of him moving away. I think you look at that; it's a pretty good indication. Glasner, by the way, is leaving. I don't see him staying at Palace for another season. It seems about right age as well. Well, yeah, like he's not just turned. He's going to turn 22 in the next couple of months. So it's a perfect signing, really. Again, it's another signing where Liverpool. You look at Kanate. Kanate was around the same age, wasn't he? Before, because again, Liverpool in the past has done that pretty well, where players are going to take the next step up or going to take the jump up. Liverpool have been pretty well at judging that. I think we did that with Van Dijk. I think we did that with Kanate. I think we did that as well with Dom. To be fair, so I think that extra push should be okay. Really, anyway, but we'll have to wait and see. I would say the track record of players in the conveyor belt is good. Caicedo, Nkapi, and Pacho as well. Yeah, exactly. To be fair, Pacho's a really good player as well. Obviously, Caicedo, I said it to you guys when we were linked with Moises Caicedo. I absolutely loved him at Liverpool. Well, I'll take him or leave him. No, to be fair, he is really good, to be fair. Anyway, but look, let me know your guys' thoughts on him, of course. Do I think Liverpool sign him? I hope so. I'm not going to sit here and go, I hope Liverpool don't sign him, because I hope Liverpool do sign him as well. But moving on to Federico Chiesa. Now, there was a report for Federico Chiesa, I believe it was yesterday, from Italian sources claiming that Juventus were strongly thinking about approaching Liverpool for Federico Chiesa. There was rumours of a 6-month loan deal that would be, again, I think laughed at by Liverpool a little bit because of how, again, Liverpool are lacking in terms of forwards and, not really having anyone else in terms of cover. But there was that report that suggested that Juventus would want a 6-month loan deal for Federico Chiesa and then would reevaluate in the summer. Now, Fabrizio Romano today has come out along with Matteo Moratto saying that Juventus are indeed internally discussing and considering Federico Chiesa, but the people close to the player expect Liverpool not to be willing to release him in January. So we all know Chiesa loves Juve. We already know, Chiesa loves Liverpool as well because, again, Federico Chiesa decided not to leave in the summer transfer window. He wanted to stay for his future at the club. Now, do I think he'll go to Juve in January? No, I don't. I think he'll stay. I think we'll end up seeing Chiesa around till the end of the season. But, of course, with the World Cup coming around as well, will he get picked for Italy? There's a possibility that he doesn't, because, again, he refused to not go to the last round of qualifications, I believe it was, for the World Cup. I do think it was, he did refuse not to go. Obviously, Gattuso did mention it, the fact that he, refused. He blatantly refused to go. He wanted to stay at Liverpool. He wanted to not go on international duty. And now, with that being said, is that going to damage his his chances of going to a World Cup. I don't think so, because I think, even though I think Italian football at the minute, defenders, I think they're okay on. Goalkeepers, I think they're actually pretty good on. Again, they've got Donnarumma, they've got Vicario as well. There's other, obviously, Italian keepers. But I think forwards for Italy are a big problem. I don't think they have that many good attackers, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I think some Italian fans would also agree the fact that Chiesa is probably still their best attacker, even though he doesn't play for Liverpool week in, week out. And the annoying thing, I think, for Juve fans as well, they never really wanted to let him go, did they? They didn't want Federico Chiesa to be let go by Juventus. I think, obviously, we adore Federico Chiesa. Obviously, I think us ourselves as Liverpool supporters, we're frustrated that he doesn't get more opportunities within the first team. But there is that sense of, I don't think it's going to be now, because purely Liverpool don't have players. If Chiesa was to leave, we'd have a front two of Alexander Isak, sorry, we'd have Cody Gakpo, Hugo Ekitike, and that would be it. That would be Liverpool's attackers this season. For me, I think he will leave in the summer. I think Liverpool will allow him to leave in the summer. But I think in January, I just think it's too early, because again, Liverpool won't find a replacement. Liverpool won't get a better, I think, player that can come off the bench, or even, again, start at the club for what he offers at the moment. And I think the big problem is, Liverpool probably demand the same type of price we paid for him in terms of 10 million. Would Juve do that? No, I don't think so. And I think their hope is a loan deal, but realistically, it's not going to happen. As far as I would say personally, anyway. But again, we'll have to see what happens. But I personally think he won't go in January. I think he will stay, and then we'll look in the summer. But yeah. I'll let him go. He looks so unfit. Yeah, I would agree, but I'd say keep him around for now. Chiesa, hello, Red Rebellion. Hope you're doing well. Chiesa turned down the Italian call up like 3 times due to him not being ready to play. True. What else do we have? So if he's turning down Italy, what do you think he has been telling Slot? There's a good conversation whether or not them to talk. Let's be honest. Federico Chiesa, at the present moment in time, there's a big debate whether or not they actually talk. Him and Arne Slot. Let's be honest. Look at the handful of games he started for Liverpool. How many times have we said this season alone, why doesn't Chiesa get an opportunity? Why isn't Chiesa starting? Why isn't he in for Cody Gakpo? Like, what we have seen this season, Chiesa come on and made an impact. And okay, you can have players in your team that do that. Liverpool literally have had players like that. Divock Origi, Taki Minamino, as well. No Chiesa, as publicly said, Slot has treated him so well. Yeah, that's the frightening thing about it. But this is what I also mean with it. They don't really talk. I just think it's just we're fine. We have a good relationship. Like, I know, obviously, I'm joking with that sense, but Chiesa, I think look at it, Sunderland. Like, there's me saying that. Look at the Sunderland game. Federico Chiesa literally kept Arne Slot in a job. Simple as that. He absolutely kept him in a job. He stopped that goal from going in at the end of the Sunderland game. And then since we've been, unbeaten recently. Like, but this is why I say he should be given more opportunity. Why is he not being given more opportunity? It's a question we need for Slot. But again, when people ask Slot questions, journalists get told not to ask them. And that, I think, was it David Lynch mentioned that Arne Slot had asked, or the press officer had asked for no more questions on Chiesa around the Christmas time, or Christmas period, sorry. So, yeah, it's a question for, again, I'd love Slot to answer directly. He is not fit to start matches. Even Gattuso will tell you that. That's true, to be fair. Because he has a fitness issue, both Gattuso and Slot have confirmed this. Have they, though? I don't think Slot's ever said about it. But even still, he's had pre-season to gain fitness. The match fitness, I think, is a different thing between actual fitness. I think he's fit. I think he's fit, just not match fit. You don't play. That's the problem with it. Have they both done it? Okay, I apologize for that, but yeah, no, there's a difference in my opinion between fitness and match fitness, and of course, Chiesa's not going to be match fit because he never plays, and when he does play, it's a 10-minute cameo. Again, the start against Wolves was his first start since when? Like, I'm even struggling to think when was his last start part of the Wolves game. Was he even this season? Was it last season potentially? I'm trying to think. Was it Brighton or Palace last season? Towards the end, possibly could even be that. But look, do I think he'll go to Juve? No. Do I think? Do I mean it'll happen in January? No. The summer, yes. I think Chiesa will leave in the summer, but unless Liverpool plan on signing 2 forwards in January, which isn't going to happen. Let's be perfectly honest with that as well. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Chiesa told Gattuso he's not ready to play for Italy. This is public information. He did, but he also refused to go. It wasn't even Gattuso that he refused to go the first time. Was it? It was Mancini back. Was it last year as well? But look, we'll have to wait and see. But in my opinion, he doesn't go to any of the qualifiers in March. I think that'll also be a thing where, because I remember watching, what's his name? Is it Luca? I think Luca on YouTube, and he was saying it depends because Italian fans will get frustrated the fact he's not played. Okay, if he goes to a World Cup, he goes to a World Cup. That's fine. But if he doesn't play at all in the World Cup qualifiers and then goes to the World Cup, is that not taking the mick really and taking a spot away from a player that deserves to go to a World Cup because they've played? But again, we'll have to wait and see. Again, you're probably right. But who cares? I'm not going to lie. But it's a 50-50, isn't it? It's more than that. He's had implants to get taller, and really, I didn't know that. I'm surprised by that. But look, if he goes, I wouldn't be surprised. And again, I wouldn't blame him really. But I think for Liverpool, he should stay. And of course, we'll hopefully get some more game time in his legs as well. But look, I didn't know that, to be fair. If he has got false count and replace, for God's sake, I did believe that then for 2 seconds. I was like, did he? Maybe it's like Juve, but God's sake, implants. To be fair, I thought you meant where because again, he completely ruptured, didn't he, his ACL and his MCL at the same time. So I thought when you meant that at that point, but to be fair, yeah, no false count and Merry Xmas. You're too late. Anyway, but look, hopefully you guys have a good rest of your days. Anyway, I'm going to shoot off because, I've got to go in 2 minutes. But hopefully you guys have had a good year anyway. Again, obviously 2025, good year for the Reds at the beginning of the year, obviously winning the Premier League. But the rest of it, let's not talk about it. But no, it's been a year of ups and downs, as every year does. Obviously, you think of people we've lost this year. Again, obviously the Wolves game, in particular. Obviously Diogo Jota's, children and that, and you think of not just football, you think of more of life and how other things are around and so on. I think again, obviously, it's a nice touch from everyone with the Wolves game and that. And look, you have ups, you have downs, but obviously, the downs are the big ones, really. And of course, next year, hopefully, Liverpool go on to win, everything, and batter everyone at the same point in time as well. But look, it's I hope next year Liverpool batter everyone and we win absolutely everything as well. But look, hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day, and I was going to say hopefully everyone has a good rest of your year, well, what's left of it anyway. But obviously, big thank you to everyone in the chat as well. I'd like to leave the year with these thoughts. God's sake. Prosperous New Year to you and your family, Carl, as well. Thank you much, Ozan. Everyone in the chat as well. Hopefully you have a good New Year's as well. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, please hit that like, please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the new year. But have a good day, have a good rest of your day, chat. Hopefully I'll see you all in the new year. But I've been Connor from the Cup Council. I'll see you guys a bit later on. Ta-ra.